Welcome, Patriots. Today we're talking about one of the current events, and that is President Donald Trump's declaration of the border emergency and the response to that and the immigrant community's fear of mass deportations. So let's look at a news clip and then we'll react to it.
Like Chicago are anticipating massive immigration raids that could begin at any moment. Elected leaders say they will do anything they can to protect the many immigrant communities.
Ripping those families apart, not acceptable to Americans. And we're going to stand up for them in the state of Illinois.
We want folks to know that they can still send their children to school.
Organizations like Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights telling anyone who is scared, don't answer the door if ICE agents come knocking, and memorize loved ones' phone numbers in case your phones are seized. Meantime, a long-anticipated threat in the fight against drug cartels has become a reality.
State officials, politicians, and administrative officials who are encouraging people in their state to not cooperate with immigration officials, they're going to have a real fight on their hands with this administration, because it's very clear that the federal government has supremacy over this. I can just see some immigration official being told, well, you can't take these people because we in the state of Illinois don't allow it. He is going to tell them where to go because he's got the authority under federal law to enact and enforce those laws. And the statement by, I think it was the governor of Illinois, that Americans do not want illegal immigrants to be deported, that is something that requires some qualification. I think a very, very high percentage of Americans want illegal immigrants who are criminals to be deported. I think when you get past that issue to illegal immigrants who are living here, following the law and working hard, that's when you get a point where some Americans don't want them to be deported. Let's see what else they have to say here.
Trump officially designating them as foreign terrorist organizations. This decision previously facing opposition from Mexican leaders. News Nation's Jorge Ventura joining us with more on this from Texas. Jorge, good morning to you. What does this new designation mean for the fight against these dangerous cartels?
Well, Marnie, good morning. Now, with this designation, Mexican cartels now will be joining a list of foreign terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. It is a move that can actually make it politically easier for President Trump to send U.S. troops to Mexico without the approval of Congress. Now, this designation will target criminal organizations like the Sinaloa and the Jalisco New Generations cartels, which are involved in human trafficking, violent crimes, but also fueling the fentanyl crisis here in the United States. Now, under U.S. law, this designation does allow the U.S. government to freeze cartel money, ban travel, and punish anyone helping these criminal groups. Officials say that Mexican cartel operations across the border threaten U.S. safety and security. Now, Mexican leaders, including former President López Obrador and President Sheinbaum, are opposing the move, fearing that it could justify U.S. military action on U.S. soil. And when asked whether U.S. forces could be sent to Mexico when he was signing those executive orders, Marnie, Trump did say that it could happen. Right now, we'll just have to wait and see, Marnie.
Jorge,
Declaring Mexican cartels as terrorist organizations is a logical thing. I mean, it's just sheer common sense. These cartels have been crossing our border illegally, smuggling, human trafficking. I mean, they turn people into slaves. They sell children into slavery. They sell women into white slavery. They traffic in drugs. They are a threat to our national security, and I think declaring them as terrorist organizations is just common sense. Now, what you do after you've declared them to be terrorist organizations, what you do, and obviously the president of Mexico and the previous president of Mexico do not want American troops on Mexican soil, but American law enforcement and American troops on American soil can do whatever they have to control these cartels. And the main thing we can do is to confiscate all of their financial assets and arrest people and get them to turn on their colleagues so that we can get more and more of them. It's only a matter of time before we have a treaty arrangement with Mexico whereby American forces can operate in Mexico to control these cartels and to do something about this horrible problem in Mexico. Let's see what else they say here.
Are there other groups that are targeted under this designation, or is it solely focused on the cartels?
So in that new executive order, President Trump is also targeting MS-13, that's the Salvadoran gang, as a foreign terrorist organization, but also adding the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. According to Border Czar Tom Holman, who did speak with News Nation back in December, he says that Tren de Aragua gang is already active in 16 states. And here in Texas, the Venezuelan gang already has an active presence in El Paso, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. Now, according to President Trump, he says he will use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign criminal networks here in the United States through the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which does allow the U.S. government to round up foreigners who are citizens of a country that Congress has declared war on or has engaged in invasion. Now, President Trump on Monday also declared an official emergency on the southern border, saying, quote, cartels control vast territories just south of our southern border, effectively controlling who can and cannot travel to the United States from Mexico. Hundreds of thousands of Americans have tragically died from drug overdoses because of the illicit narcotics that have flowed across the southern border. For now, that the decision to intensify the battle against U.S. cartels will most likely get some pushback, Marnie, from President Claudia Sheinbaum, who says she does oppose it. And just about 30 minutes ago in her morning brief conference, she did say that Mexico is a sovereign nation, Marnie.
The president of Mexico, I mean, of course she's right. Mexico is a sovereign nation, but she's got to understand, and she will have to understand, that we, the United States, are not going to tolerate this kind of incursions on our border and this kind of illegal activity. And I was glad to hear that President Trump has included cartel gangs from Venezuela, from other countries, El Salvador and other countries, in this order. So it's not just the Mexican cartels. And there's a lot that we can do to curtail these cartels' activities and cripple them. And I applaud every action that we take. We need to protect. Remember, government's first priority is to protect the lives of its citizens. And this is a necessary action to protect our citizens' lives.